right, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. Welcome to Mornings with the Manager. As always, it's my privilege and my pleasure to meet with you through this forum and to share with you some information from the city of Monterey, which I hope you find interesting, and also maybe provide you with some additional perspectives of certain topics that are going on here around City Hall. Last week, Wednesday, we held a very important session with the City Council and the public. It was a study session, and in which our Public Works folks presented the infrastructure needs over the next years here in the city of Monterey. I've spoken about that a few times in the past. I made it my topic for this year a little bit to talk more about the infrastructure needs that we have. For many, many years, the city has done a great job in providing services, and we have done a great job in enhancing our services in so many ways. But we also have accumulated a lot of facilities which are now costing us a lot of money to keep them updated and safe for the public to use, and also expensive to maintain service levels out of those facilities. When you walk around the city of Monterey, you see a lot of infrastructure that is maintained and owned by the city of Monterey. If you look at wharf number 1, wharf number 2, and everything in between, you are looking at city properties that are funded by Tideland funds to maintain wharf 1 and wharf 2. We need probably something like $9 million over the next years or so to invest into both wharves. When you drive through downtown, you see the parking garages, you see the streets, you see the traffic lights. A lot of the infrastructure is working, but if you look at traffic lights, I can share with you that quite a few of them need replacement, because it's not just the lights that need to be replaced, but also the failing cables underneath the street that are connecting the traffic lights with each other. The city owns quite a number also of historic buildings. The Gordon House was one of the examples we shared with the council on Wednesday. Is an old building built with Australian lumber that was imported in the 1800s here, and it's falling off its foundation right now. We need about $800,000 to keep that historic building in place. As you know, there are multiple historic buildings that the city of Monterey owns. The most prominent one is the 1849 built Colton Hall. And again, there's not a lot of utility out of that building. We have downstairs in the first floor the planning division and the housing department working, and upstairs it's a museum memorializing the historic significance of that building. But frankly, the offices down there are adjusted to the conditions of that building, and we cannot do a lot in those offices without touching historic structures. Colton Hall, so for instance, is a building that has a high significance with respect to California history, but a very low utility to be an efficient 21st century office space. We have other buildings like that. Directly adjacent to it is the Vasquez Adobe, which we use now as a hub for Parks and Recreation. We have the Parks and Recreation director working there with one additional staffer. Plus, we have some of our engineering team working upstairs, managing public works projects. And I can go on and on and on about additional buildings spreading out from here to Cannery Row when you add to that the Pacific Biological Laboratories as well. So these are historic buildings we have to maintain. And then there are the semi-historic buildings. With that, I call fire stations, built 1951, 1958, the public safety building, 1959, across the street from us, the public safety building, 1958, I'm sorry, the library. We have community centers, spread out through the city between New Monterey, Hilltop, and Casanova Oak Knoll. We have 5 community centers. One we are renting out to First Night Monterey, but the other 4 are in use and are being utilized by our community to various varying degrees. We have to reinvest in those because those facilities do not look like a facility that feels like 21st century. So if we do up-to-date programming, our facilities also to a certain degree need to be updated. I spoke about the fire station a few times. We need to reinvest into our fire stations. We need to reinvest into Hilltop. We need to reinvest into our library. Again, the library has not had any significant upgrades for the past 40 plus years. And again, it's a library that has changed dramatically its purpose over time. It's not just a library anymore where you go and can pick a book and take it home and hopefully return it after 2 or 3 weeks. It is a community center nowadays with various events, with daily events, with bringing people together, with providing homes for quite a number of unhoused that find information there, that find a space where it's dry and warm during the day. So we have to reinvest into our infrastructure. And it's millions of dollars. The public works director pointed that all out. And what we pointed out to the council also is that our toolkit for getting revenues to make this all happen are pretty limited. We have Measure P, Measure S, and very much helping us to maintain our road systems. As you hear from time to time, people are complaining when it gets a little bit too stop and go because the roads are closed, because we are repaving them. We brought the streets back to life over the past 10 years. We started Measure P&S in 2014, 2015. And we brought the road condition index up to a level that we haven't had for decades here in the city, but we have to maintain that level. And that funding runs out in March 27. And we reminded the council that without Measure P and Measure S, we really are losing sufficient funding. So this 1 cent sales tax as a special tax goes directly to the purposes of road maintenance, storm drain maintenance, ADA improvements, and sidewalks owned by the city. About 10, 11, $12 million a year there are a substantial infusion to keep those assets going and alive. That doesn't help us with facilities because the money is just restricted to that, and that was done by a community advisory committee at that time, and they recommended and the council agreed to keep Measure P, Measure S just for those 4 different types of asset infrastructure restricted, but not add anything else in these facilities. We have another tax measure that expires in 29. That's Measure G. That's a ½ cent sales tax. It's unrestricted, so it goes to the general fund with no requirements like a special tax measure has. It expires at 29, and again, for right now, there are no quick fixes for the council. There are then the ideas coming up. Well, can't the city get a bond to maintain the infrastructure? Yes, we can get a bond, but in order to get a bond, you need to show the folks that are kind enough to lend you their money what is the dedicated revenue source to pay back the bond. So yes, there is the idea floated to get a bond, and we can dedicate a revenue source to that, but that comes at an additional cost to the city because something's got to give then in order to pay the bond back. You can also issue a parcel tax. Parcel tax is a very commonly used measure by different regional agencies. Monterey Peninsula Unified School District has, I believe, had 2 tax measures right now on the parcel property tax. They are contemplating a third one, if I understand it correctly. We have the Parks District on there. So there are different types of parcel taxes already on the property bill. And so the question needs to be discussed. Should we add to that? Should property owners carry the burden of the infrastructure needs for the city of Monterey? How would property owners who have multiple properties pass this on to maybe tenants if they rent properties to them? So it's also not a quick fix. So the city and staff, we have discussed for quite a while now to find a compromise and find a way of reallocating existing revenue streams towards also the greater good of the city of Monterey. And so last week, Wednesday, the presentation by the staff of Public Works, the Public Works Director, the city engineer, our building manager, he's actually called the General Services Superintendent, and several analysts revealed that this is a challenging puzzle to solve. I always keep saying we do not have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And so part of the solution that the council has looked at it, and also that staff is looking at it, is to find a new balanced approach to how we are utilizing the neighborhood community improvement program funding as well. Because the NCIP right now, with 16% of the transient occupancy tax, can play a significant role in helping us to bridge those funding gaps. And we will continue that dialogue and hopefully get to some reasonable solutions. And with that, I can jump directly into our last night's council meeting. Because seamlessly that connects the dots to what was discussed last night with respect to the charter amendments. The City of Monterey's charter very much clarifies the role of the neighborhood community improvement program. It's not, some people still call it neighborhood improvement program, but the charter calls it actually neighborhood community improvement program, NCIP. And we brought forward to the council in February several suggested paths forward with respect to the NCIP and with respect to the library and with respect to elections and also a little bit of leases where we think the charter needs to be adjusted and changed. The council on February 10th gave us a nod to several items that we brought forward and rejected some other items. And at the end of the day, that these were the items then that we presented to the council last night. A big deal of the conversation was focused on, of course, the Cherish Neighborhood Community Improvement Program. There were some statements made with respect to the council is not transparent. The council is not living up to the promise of sharing with the community what is going on, and they felt the charter amendments were a surprise or were rammed down the throat of people or certain groups. Nothing can be further off the truth. Very transparent about that. We have been bringing it forward as a draft last night, and the reason why people spoke up and expressed their concerns and expressed their willingness to compromise on certain items, that's the public process that goes forward, and it was done in the public eye. It was absolutely transparent. It was broadcast to everyone. The council chamber was filled with people. Over 30 people spoke probably at this item alone, for this item alone. So that's transparency, and everyone understands different transparency, and I can relate to some of those statements made last night. But in the end of at the end of the night, there were good decisions made by the city council. We will continue the dialogue with the NCIP. We will do this after voting night, where I really hope that the NCIP representatives will find it in their heart to propose to the city council 3 projects that we as staff are really asking the NCIP to put up as approved projects Fire Station 12, which is on Hawthorne Street, Fire Station 13, which is in Montecito, basically are in dire need of upgrades to the buildings. Fires and also Hilltop Park Center. Hilltop Park Center is our largest community center located in New Monterey with a lot of good programming going on there. But we need to upgrade it, rehabilitate this in many areas there. So after that voting night, I believe council will understand where we are with respect to balancing the needs, and then we will sit down with the NCIP in a joint session that the council wants to do, and listen to each other, and then hopefully there will be a consensus whether we need a charter amendment or there will be consensus how to move forward. Last but not least, my hope is that more and more residents are picking up on this topic, and it's not just the residents that we know about and hear about many times, but also that folks are speaking up who might not be as familiar with the topics, but look at it also with the lens. Someone last night said, kitchen table, yes, look at it with a kitchen table lens, because if you sit around the kitchen table, you want to make sure that all funds are balanced, and especially that money goes into the operation and maintenance of many of the existing assets. And for a time, I would just hope that we are not creating new projects, but really channeling the NCIP funds into many of our existing projects, which, to the credit of the NCIP, has happened time and time again. And last night, one or two speakers pointed that out, and I was grateful for that, because that's part of the story that we need to tell. So, other charter amendments last night, the council discussed in-depth term limits. Council members brought forward the idea of term limits during our February session. Staff looked into that, brought back a solution. The council did not agree on that initially. Councilmember Hafer, Councilmember pointed out why they think term limits would be detrimental for a city like Monterey, and the rest of the council, with the mayor, vice mayor, out their opinion about giving opportunities to people to be part of the city politics and being part of bringing in fresh ideas, etc. In the end, the council compromised and selected an option to put in front of the charter for limiting the mayor to 8 years, and I believe the council members to 12 years to 3 terms. We'll see how this will finalize and then we'll see what the voters think. And again, you, the voters, will have the last word, whether you want term limits here in the city of Monterey, or whether you want maybe a different style of government here with respect to term limits. We also spoke about the library last night. The library is in the city charter as well, and there were some requests made by us, city staff, to clarify the roles of the advisory, or of the library board of trustees. And there are distinct differences. The library board can appoint and terminate the library director. The city council, on the other hand, is the one who is providing all the other service levels for the library, including the budget, and approving staffing, and helping them with the purchasing, the legal reviews, the risk management, etc. So our proposed charter amendments there would clarify basically what the status quo. Council heard from staff. Council heard also from 2 or 3 members of the library board, or former members of the library board, and we'll bring that topic to the library board to explain to them where we are on this one, and hopefully the library board will concur, and we'll put this also onto a future ballot. Last but not least, we talked about leases briefly, and leases to nonprofits. 501c3s. There are a variety of those leaseholders here in the city of Monterey. First Night Monterey, for instance, is leasing the Archer Center from us. You have the Legion 41 veterans renting from us a property up in Old Town. You have the Yacht Club in the City Harbor. You have several other nonprofits, and the question was, should they pay market rate? Should they be leased at market rate? Aquarium is one of them also, where the aquarium provides a lot of services to the city of Monterey and a lot of revenues. And when the aquarium was built, the city at that time agreed to rent the tidelands to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is occupying a great deal of city tidelands at $1 per year. So, but our requirements for leases are market rate. So our proposal is to allow the council to lease below fair market rate if they are 501c3. So again, this is something that the city is probably bringing forward. Council seem to be okay with that, so we will propose that in a final session to the council sometime in June, July, before it gets on the ballot. So with all of that, let me conclude. It was an interesting discussion about charter amendments. Nothing is written in stone. It was a draft. It's a transparent process. Everyone could weigh in, and everyone was heard. And I'm very sure the council, as always, takes a lot of the ideas to heart. And at the end of the day, the council will make a wise decision of what they want to bring forward to the voters. And then once again, the voters have the final say. So this is an absolute transparent process from A to Z. Could there be different steps? Yes, that's a matter of opinion, but the process is clear, and I appreciate all the good work that the council was doing in February, the good work that staff was doing to get this done, and most importantly, the feedback that we received last night. We need to address our infrastructure funding. There is no way around it. There is no quick fix. And everyone has to play the role, and we have to sit down around the kitchen table, and we need to decide if we want to build a brand new deck or if we want to fix the leaky roof or the plumbing or replace our heater. What's more important? So these will be the conversations that we will have, and I'm very sure here in Monterey we always come out at the right end, and we will do that this time as well. What was also last night happening is we approved the city budget, and we approved the city's CIP program. The city CIP program general fund portion, that's the unrestricted funds that we have. $2.5 million of $105 million is floating towards the is floating towards the CIP. That's pitiful money. We need more allocation out of the general fund for CIP. I spoke about this at the beginning of my update when I spoke about infrastructure needs. When you look at other cities around us, Pacific Grove, Seaside, Salinas, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, those numbers are all in way higher, triple, quadruple, 10 times more than what we do right now as Monterey. And so last night we presented a very much balanced budget. The 5-year forecast looks actually pretty good, that we actually in year 4 or 5 create a modest budget surpluses. But that is all calculated with a CIP of $2.5 million, and we need probably anywhere between 8 to 10 million per year going back into our existing infrastructure. We also add more staff to our organization. One person will be going into an additional full-time position, will go into the sports center, and we are adding 2.5 more people. If I say it, if it's not 100% correct, I apologize, but we're adding at least 2 full-time positions to the library, plus another regular part-time. And those positions will help us to keep the library open for 1 additional day. So we go from Tuesday to Saturday service to hopefully to Monday to Saturday service. Again, that's the privilege and the preference of the library director and the library board, how they want to run and open the library. But we added a key position in the assistant library director to the staffing model, because the library director needs to have someone at his side that helps him to figure out a lot of things that are going on in a library of that magnitude, and a library that is so cherished and loved. So 2 positions plus a regular part-timer will be added July 1st to the library, and I'm very sure that this will allow us to open the library again for 6 days a week. Other positions were added in the Public Works Department to help us with the Army contract, and then we added also another planning resource to our planning division, because that is really a division in community development that is being on the forefront on many initiatives here in the city of Monterey. Housing projects come to mind, the rewriting of the housing element, but also we are stuck with the local coastal plan, and we want to get that done ASAP. So we hope that this resource will help us also with the day-to-day work, and also with the larger scale projects that our planners are working so diligently on. So that was last night, the 3 major topics: charter amendments, budget, and CIP. We left the chamber late at night, but I felt it was a good night, and a lot of great things were accomplished, which I'm really looking optimistically in the future, because again, the process is working, and we will be hearing from each other, and in the end, we will have good, wise decisions by our city council. Switching gears, last week, the Monterey Police Department released their annual report for 2023. This report highlights all the different services that our police department is providing, from the community action team, CAT, to the multidisciplinary outreach team, MDOT, plus the day-to-day routine work that our traffic enforcement officers are doing, our police officers are doing. It's a great report. It gives you a lot of statistics, and I really encourage you to take a look at that report. And if you have questions, suggestions, observations, please connect with the city, connect with the chief of police, and every email will be answered, and we are really happy to hear from you and learn from you what we can do better. You can find this report on our website, monterey.gov, monterey.gov, standing for gov, /police, monterey.gov/police. June 14th is the next time where people can apply for the rental assistance program. Again, the city is the only city in the Tri-County area that is providing rental assistance to renters. We have done that now twice before. This will be the 3rd time in 3 months that we are opening it up. You can get up to 3 months of rental assistance for a total not to exceed $5,000. Now, we can also provide you with one-time legal assistance funding, housing counseling, and again, if you need this all will be capped also by $3,000. There's a multitude of other services our housing team can provide you. So when you engage with them, please connect and let them know where you stand on certain topics, what your need is, and many times we can provide additional help in case you are not eligible for the rental assistance program. Again, this will open on June 14th. Watch the announcements. I think the telephone line opens at lunchtime and will be closed at 8 p.m. Again, I believe that is what we did in the past, and then we'll make sufficient notification. A lot of road work is going on, but you should look at it and be grateful for Measure P and S. That's the 1 cent sales tax. 64% of non-residents are paying into the sales tax here. That's a number that we developed quite a while ago, but I think it's still valid to say that most of the sales tax that we enjoy is not coming from residents, but more from non-residents. and Measure PNS slurry sealing is going on right now in New Monterey, and a lot of work is being finished there right now. Please be patient with us. The weather is gorgeous, so it means that we can open streets very, very soon again after we put the last slurry seal coat on there. And then what you will see, excuse me, will be also the restriping of the stop bars, parking keys if appropriate, etc., etc. So there's still some work to be done, but we're glad that we can spend millions of dollars in our city neighborhoods to improve the roadways. And if you have driven Lighthouse Avenue lately, I think it was worth the pain. This is something that will not happen next year, and it will not happen in the next 10 years again. So I think we did a great job there, our team, and again, my apologies for the Carmageddon that we had on April 2nd. Tonight, we have the Pride Flag raising event here at City Hall. June is Pride Month, LGBTQ+, and we'll have a flag ceremony rising here at 5 p.m. In front of the city manager's office, which is located at the corner of Pacific and Madison. And then last but not least, World Toughest Row is back. These are the folks who are sitting in rowing boats for 30 to 50 days and try to row from Monterey to Kauai. It's many international teams coming from all parts of the world, and they are back there at the harbor. Take a look there if you want to go to wharf number 1 or wharf number 2. They are dead smack in the middle there, and enjoy looking at their boats, talk to them. These are all accomplished athletes, and I'm pretty sure if you involve them into a conversation, they will think of you when they are rowing across the Pacific, because other than rowing, there might be a lot of time to chat about things they experience in their lives, particularly also at the starting point of this race in Monterey. Last night, the CEO and the race director, Karsten Olsen, was here. He's a guy from Denmark, and he's organizing a toughest row across the Pacific as well as the toughest row across the Atlantic. So we're very honored to have the toughest row here as a starting point in Monterey, and that event attracts a lot of worldwide coverage, as many countries are very proud of the rowers who are here and undertaking that adventure. That's it from last night and from last week, and giving you also a heads up what's going on in the city of Monterey. I hope you enjoy this beautiful day here in Monterey. We live in a beautiful city. We are probably the most sought after destination here in the Tri-County area, and we will remain like that and make sure that the quality of life for our residents remains high. It's a privilege to work for you, and as always, if there are any things that pop up that you're concerned about, or where you think the city can help or we should change certain things, feel free to connect with the city. You can reach us on so many platforms, on our website, our social media channels, or a good old phone call also works many times. With that, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.